Hello, friends. This is Confessions with Amy, and I'm glad you checked out my channel. Here we openly talk about life, what is happening behind the scenes, about feelings, choices, and moments that often remain in the shadows. Subscribe to the channel and click on the bell so that you don't miss new revelations and stories. That will help you look at the world in a new way.
I'm 49. Or, to be precise, 49 years and 9 months. I spent 20 of them in the same office, at the same desk, on the same floor overlooking the parking lot. In the summer, the sun shone directly on the screen, and I stuck stickers to the glass to somehow see the tables. In winter, the batteries didn't heat up, and I warmed my hands on coffee spilled in a cheap corporate thermos. I was here when Raven Strategies only had one big client. I helped write sales proposals by hand, cleaned up the spelling for the old boss, taught the new ones, and even once spent the night in a meeting room on the floor because a client from Seattle had to get a presentation before 8 in the morning. I pulled them out. Again and again. No complaints, no noise. And today I'm standing in front of the closed door of Office 4.03. On it is a sign, Cody Reeves, Regional Director. I once taught Cody how to use Excel. I knocked twice, easily. Almost polite. Come on in, the voice says, a little higher than usual, as if it's playing someone confident. I inhale and open the door. Cody sits at the table with his arms crossed. Next to her is Ashley from HR. She sits up too straight, like it's an exam. There are 2 envelopes on the table. One red. One is white. Jen, thank you for coming. Have a seat. He smiles like he's serving me a snack, not cutting off 20 years of my life. I sit down. Calmly. The back is straight. Fingers on the knees. I think you know why we invited you, he continues, opening the red envelope. The company is going through a restructuring process, and unfortunately, your position will be abolished. Restructuring. I've heard that word 5 times in the last 2 years. It's like an eraser, it erases names, stories, and efforts. I don't say anything. I just nod. Once. I don't trust my voice. Ashley pulls the papers toward me. Severance pay, 1 salary. They didn't even bother to offer anything more. No thanks, no speech. Cody avoids my gaze. My eyes are racing. On the walls. By Ashley. On your sleeve. I don't say anything while they talk. Inside burning sensation. It's not a flash, it's like a soldering iron. Hot, deep, and very, very quiet. If you have any questions, Ashley says, we'll be in touch for the rest of the week. I take the papers. I don't sign it. I just put it in my bag. I'm getting up. It's been a pleasure working with you, Cody adds, rising slightly from the table. He holds out his hand. I look at her. On the hand that was shaking a year ago when he first held a summit with a client. I was sitting next to him, telling him what slides to put under the table. He didn't know I could see his fingers gripping the edge of the table in frustration. I don't take my hand. Good luck, Cody. He blinks a little. I didn't expect it. And this is my first move. I walk out, slowly and straight. With my back to them. My heels click on the office laminate floor. Someone at the cooler is trying to look away. Someone does not have time. I don't look at my reflection in the elevator. I don't need a reminder of who I am. I'm Jennifer Lawson. I've been building a reputation, contacts, and trust here for 20 years. They think they took me off the stage, turned out the lights. But they forgot one simple thing. I'm not an actress. I was the script writer. And now, I'll write a new one. For myself. And let them read the credits. A plan? No, I didn't have a plan. A plan is something that is made up in advance. I had a reflex. An instinct. When you're thrown overboard, you don't yell, you row. I didn't go home right after I was fired. I walked past a Starbucks, turned onto Lincoln Avenue, and sat down in the quiet of the small cafe where I'd once discussed presentations with my favorite client, Walter Burns of Rosedale Tech. He always ordered tea like a Brit and said, "You're the only person in this damn industry who's got brains turned on for more than just a bonus." I opened my old notebook. Not a laptop, not a tablet notepad. It contains lists. People. Contacts. Events. I always duplicated important things in paper form, even though Ashley always joked that I was a dinosaur. And the dinosaur survived for millions of years. HR department no. I started with a simple email. The tone is neutral. No reproaches. Good afternoon. I want to inform you that as of today, I no longer work at Raven Strategies. If you have any questions about previous projects or are interested in consulting, I will be happy to be in touch. My new email address, jlawson.consulting@gmail.com. All the best. Jennifer Lawson. I didn't send it to everyone. Only those who wrote to me directly. Who asked for, just you, Jen. Who sent me Christmas cards. The ones I helped put out panic calls at 11 p.m. Those to whom I cautiously but confidently said, "We will fix everything." And we really did fix everything. Rosedale Tech, Beacon Brands, Harris Legal, Momentum West. Sent it. I closed my laptop. I took a sip of coffee. I just waited. The first response came 2 hours later. Jen, this is a shock. I can't imagine how Raven will work without you now. We'll contact you tomorrow, we have a project and I want you to lead it if you can. Signed by Walter Burns. The next morning there were 3 more letters. All, with questions about my status and prices. I haven't answered in detail yet. Let them feel the pause. I'm not on sale. I am the choice. In the evening, I got a call from Linda at Raven's front desk. Jen. I know I can't. But Cody just threw a tantrum. He's looking for a presentation for Momentum, and they have a different structure now. Only you work directly with them. We don't have anything. I smiled for the first time that day. Thank you, Linda. Take care of yourself. I wasn't gloating. It's not a joy. This is the restoration of justice. Because when you've given them 20 years of your life and they haven't even bothered to sign the card, you have the right to take it back. Without shouting. Without suing. Just walk away, taking with them everything that made them strong. And it was only Tuesday. There is a special silence that is louder than any scandal. It's the silence when you don't get an answer. When you don't know who to turn to. When the usual voice that solves problems in 5 minutes disappears. And instead of it, emptiness. Raven Strategies fell silent on Wednesday. In the morning, Cody sent an urgent email to clients, informal, apologizing for some personnel changes. He thought it would work. He always believed in email marketing more than relationships. He forgot a simple thing: not all customers choose the company. Some choose a person. By lunchtime, 3 clients had called off their scheduled appointments. 2 of them, silently, through assistants. 1 in person. Walter. I didn't see it, but I know what it was like. He spoke politely, with restraint. He has a way of smiling when he's embarrassed for others. He said he would take a break for now. And then, most likely, it will simply disappear from their CRM. Just like everyone else who was cheated did. Meanwhile, I was sitting at a table in a co-working space on Sheridan Road, between a graphic designer and a young couple running a coffee brand. The place smelled like fresh wood, and no one looked at me as an ant who was behind the times. I brought my laptop, notepad, and silence. It was the silence that gave me the advantage. I wasn't angry. I didn't take revenge with posters. I just exhaled, and started breathing my own air. On Thursday night, I got a call from the clerk manager at Beacon Brands. Jen. I hope you don't mind me getting your number. It's just. Raven isn't responding right now. And we have a launch in New York. You did our last release, didn't you? I answered calmly, as if this wasn't my second phone call of the day. Of course, Claire. I remember every line. What exactly do you need? She let out a sigh of relief, as if she had returned home from a bad business trip. That's it, she said. We need everything. Not Raven. We agreed on Friday morning. Online consultation, the first step. I didn't mention the price. Not yet. Let them feel that I have reliability behind me. They will offer the price themselves. The correct one. I went to bed at midnight. Not tired, but collected. My conscience didn't bother me. I wasn't happy about the chaos at Cody's. I didn't want to ruin Raven's strategies. I just stopped protecting them. And on Friday morning, I received an email from an employee I once trained. A boy who started as an intern in 2012. William. Jen, I'm sorry to write. But if you discover something of your own, I'd like to be there for you. They say you're gone. But no one says why. If you're going to assemble a team, call me first. I read the letter twice. Then she put it down. I wasn't ready to decide someone else's fate. So far, only my own. And Raven, let her drown in her silence. Because when they cut me out of the structure, they forgot, I'm not just a cog. I was the binding cloth. I held people. I glued the processes together. I was explaining to Cody how to distinguish metrics from meaning. Now it has metrics. But it doesn't make sense. And most importantly, no one screams. No one throws a tantrum. The light just goes out slowly. At 9 o'clock on Friday morning, I didn't check my corporate email for the first time in 20 years. And, there was no panic or anxiety. Just emptiness, and freedom. I drank my coffee at home, slowly. No tie around his neck, no Slack notifications, no calls from Ashley saying, "Can you take a look, just for a minute?" This minute always ate up the day. I opened my laptop. I clicked on the link to the website of the Illinois Department of Licensing. I entered the company name blindly. My fingers were tapping, J.L. Consulting, LLC. A message appeared on the screen, "Your registration is accepted. Welcome back." I didn't feel elated at the time. I felt a steady, adult confidence. As if the door I was afraid to open wasn't so heavy after all. It's just that no one has ever allowed me to reach the handle before. A couple of hours later, I was talking to the accountant, an old friend of my sister's. He helped me choose a tax system and suggested what expenses can be written off. I set myself the goal of being crystal clear. Not a single reason for doubt. There was no reason they could say, "Jen's gone awry." At the same time, on the 18th floor of Raven Strategies, an internal audit began. This I learned from William, who finally decided to call. "Jen, there's something wrong here." Cody is furious. 2 clients asked for copies of last year's strategies, but we don't have access. You kept the archive, didn't you? I was silent. Not because I wanted to hurt you. But because, all of this was going to happen. They wanted to delete the company's memory. And along with it, operational logic disappeared. I just said. It's all in my personal files. I was the one who wrote them. They say you withheld data. Let them talk. But I didn't take anything away. I just didn't leave it. They didn't ask for a copy when they were fired. I don't have to. Jen, if you need help, if you're taking someone. He didn't finish his sentence. I didn't have to. I already knew who I wanted to call to the team. And these are definitely not the ones who were afraid to call my name in the office after being fired. I will choose those who saw me standing, and did not turn away. While Cody was hammering keywords into a corporate CRM, I met Walter Burns at a small coffee shop on North Clark Street. He brought a printout of the new briefing and said, "You want a contract? Or will we continue as before according to the project?" I looked at him calmly. Contract. At least 6 months. And the ability to attract an assistant on an outsourced basis. He nodded without question. That's how business is done when people believe you. By the evening, I had my first real income. The first one is outside of the Raven payroll. I looked at myself in the mirror in the co-working bathroom. Wrinkles under the eyes, silver on the temples, an old sweater with soft pellets. And suddenly I understood, I've never been freer. I didn't have to explain anything to anyone else. Raven Strategies held an emergency meeting at this time. Their problem isn't that they fired an old employee. It's that they've lost the infrastructure that spoke with Jen Lawson's voice. They just didn't know I was the system. Not a function. Not a job title. And now I'm building a new system from scratch, under my own name, from scratch under my own rules. On Friday night, I ordered business cards. Without slogans. Without pathos. JL Consulting. Jennifer Lawson. Solutions, without noise. I always knew that loud falls start with cracks that no one notices. First, a silent crash in the documents. Then resorting in tasks. Then, a mistake that no one can fix. And suddenly everything collapses. Not with an explosion, not with a scream. And with a polite letter, "Thank you, we are moving on to another contractor." On Monday, I got a call from Julia, a former Raven account manager. She sobbed silently into the phone for the first 3 minutes. Then she said, "Cody accused me of not keeping a client." "What's that?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Beacon Brands. They're gone." "Not officially. They just stopped responding." And then, as Claire told me, they sent a request for a tender, but only to me. Raven didn't even get there. On LinkedIn, I saw an update. The Beacon project was now led by JL Consulting. I didn't do any posts. I wasn't bragging. But the name appeared. And that was enough. The next day, HR sent a collective letter about restructuring internal processes. In office slang, this means layoffs. Julia was gone. Myself. William waited. He wrote to me every night. I didn't ask for it. I just wrote it like the setting. "Cody called the lawyers again. Looking for a way to show you something. I didn't take anything that belongs to them." I answered honestly. "Everything I use is mine." And it was true. I wrote strategies in my notebooks. I conducted meetings from my personal phone number. I kept my archives on my personal cloud, because the corporate one fell more than once. They didn't even ask me to hand over the files when I was fired. And now it's too late. I wasn't afraid of lawyers. I was afraid before silence, uselessness, emptiness after losing my place. But not now. I had a point. Customers. Projects. Revenue. Name. And I knew it. Cody can feel it, too. Not fear. Shame. I got an email on Wednesday morning. From an address I'd know anywhere in the world. Subject, "Can we talk?" Inside, one sentence. "We understand that the decision was premature. It might make sense to discuss your return in a different capacity." Signed by CEO Raven Strategies. Not Cody. The CEO himself. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Then I clicked delete. No response. I wasn't angry. I just knew that if they wanted to talk to me, they would have done it before they deleted me from the database, like a row in Excel. While they were writing their letters, I was arranging for the first permanent assistant, William. It came to me on Friday. I left an office, a social package, free coffee, and an office with a view. I didn't offer him anything other than, "I need you here." And he agreed. Friday was full of negotiations, calls, and new templates. William and I worked in the same room, just like in the old days. But now on yourself. In the evening, I offered him pizza. He laughed and said, "Jen, I feel like my work makes sense again." I nodded. Because I felt the same way. Raven Strategies was changing the password from the central CRM system at this time. Late. The facade began to crumble. Because the facade was based not on slogans, but on people. And the people left. First I. Then Julia. Then customers. Cody himself will be leaving soon. But more on that in the last chapter. It happened on a Wednesday. Exactly 1 month since the morning when I was asked to leave. I was walking down Milwaukee Avenue, wearing a coat that had once seemed too expensive for the street, and for the first time I didn't feel like I was in a hurry. I walked, because I wanted to walk. Not because it's burning again somewhere. The phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but it was a city number. The Chicago one. I picked up the phone. The voice is quiet and reserved. I knew it was Cody. "Jen." "Hi," I said calmly. "Listen to me. I do not know where to start. It's all kind of fast." I was silent. Sometimes the most powerful thing is not to interrupt. The customers are gone. William, Julia, everything. People are afraid. I tried to hold on to something, but... Pause. Then. "I think you think I wanted to kill you. That I had a plan. You were afraid. I told you. This is worse." "I guess so. Look, if you agreed to come back, even on a contract." He paused. Just a minute. Then even quieter. "Are you angry?" I smiled. Not out of malice. From understanding. "No, Cody. I'm not mad anymore. I'm just not yours anymore. And this is not revenge. This is the result." He wanted to say something, but couldn't find the words. And I didn't help. I clicked end call. Then I stood on the corner by the coffee shop, where I could see the lake. The wind kicked up thin waves. The world moved on. Without Raven Strategies. Without Jen Lawson on their lists. But not without Jen Lawson in town. My name was in a different place now. On my business documents. On contracts with clients. On the business cards I put out for coffee shops. And in the minds of those who knew that if you work with Jen, you get a solution. Not a service. Not a slideshow. And the real result. That evening, William and I were sitting in our new office. He brought them glasses and opened a bottle of cheap wine. "What do we drink to?" he asked. I looked down at my desk. Notes, briefings, and an email from a new client in Denver. For the silence that speaks louder than words. We clinked glasses. They drank it. Without pathos. Because revenge is when you want the other person to suffer. And my victory is that I don't care how they are anymore. What matters to me is how I'm doing. And you know what? I'm fine.